I think that, you know what, when we were new moms, people like named and shamed if you went to work or if you didn't go to work or if you breastfed and you didn't breastfeed. And as we get older, we're still being named and shamed for things like Botox or wanting to take better care of ourselves or a mommy makeover after having kids. And I think that it's time to just like shed all of that controversy and just embrace and be who you are, and more power to you. That's how I see it.
Yeah, we all have different visions of what
Yeah.
retirement's going to be and what our life's going to be like. And we just kind of want to share with everybody what we're planning on doing. We are hoping to have people on here that can share what they want to do and kind of just spur the topic of what our next life can be like.
Hey there, rebels on the retirement highway. I'm Cindy.
And I'm Yasmine, your co-pilot for fun flashbacks, retirement mischiefs, and the occasional Medicare sanity check.
We're best friends, lifelong storytellers, and just noisy enough to share what we've learned about life. Laughter and staying retired, rewired, and slightly unsupervised.
Your co-pilot for fun flashbacks and retirement mischief. Each week, we start off with a blast from the past and connect it to real life now and sprinkle in some Medicare truth, minus the boring parts.
Think Thelma and Louise with more giggles, less cliffs, and no cousin Larry explaining Plan G.
So buckle up and hit subscribe. Your Medicare Besties are here to keep your retirement stories rolling and your Medicare mistakes in the rearview mirror.
Let's get started.
Hey there, fellow rebels. My name is Cindy Clontz, and we were on the Rebel Highway.
Hi, I'm Yasmine Lopez, and I'm one of the Medicare Besties with Cindy Clontz.
We are best friends, and we are here just to chat and talk a little bit about Medicare, but also to talk about what we're going to do in retirement.
Absolutely. We are both Medicare agents. We've known each other since high school, and we have just so much to share. And we thought there's a missed opportunity in talking about what great lives people have in their 50s, 60s, and beyond.
And we're kind of like Thelma and Louise without the Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Bummer, Brad isn't here, but we're going to try to make it fun anyway.
Although he was pretty good looking even when he was younger,
And
right?
actually, I think since his facelift that they say he's had, he looks even better these days.
Oh my gosh, I totally want a facelift. I'm thinking could shave. Just turned 58, by the way. It was my birthday weekend.
Yeah,
And
happy
like,
birthday.
I'm never gonna say never, right? That's what I always said is I haven't had a procedure yet, but I'm never gonna say never because you never know what's coming around the corner or what's out there. And um,
Absolutely. I think that, you know what, when we were new moms, people named and shamed if you went to work or if you didn't go to work or if you breastfed and you didn't breastfeed. And as we get older, we're still being named and shamed for things like Botox or wanting to take better care of ourselves or a mommy makeover after having kids. And I think that it's time to just like shed all of that controversy and just embrace and be who you are, and more power to you. That's how I see it.
Yeah, we all have different visions of what
Yeah.
retirement's going to be and what our life's going to be like. And we just kind of want to share with everybody what we're planning on doing. We are hoping to have people on here that can share what they want to do and kind of just spur the topic of what our next life can be like.
Absolutely. And I think it, just like you, Cindy, so many of our clients have been our inspiration. And so
Yeah.
every day we get to hear someone say, I'm getting ready to retire in 3 months. And we go, yay, we're so excited. Tell me about what your bucket list looks like and what your plans are. And we learn a little bit about their life and their aspirations. And we see people totally transform, in a
Hmm.
year or two sometimes. And it just makes you go that there's roads you can take. And it's good to just kind of explore, what is living your best life in retirement really look like?
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't want to retire because they're used to the routine, getting up early and everything. But I just think that it's a whole new beginning and a whole new chapter of your life. And they kind of say 60 is the new 50. So we're getting close to that age. Like we're almost 60. And so we're as excited to hear what everybody has to say about their future plans as anybody. And so I'm just
Absolutely.
yeah, super excited for this podcast and
Me
What it
too. Just before we get going, though, so what's the oldest person that you've had as a client that was retiring? They were still working. I had one last year that was 82 years old and was
Oh my
finally retiring.
goodness.
Yeah,
Wow. No, I
yeah.
haven't had any that were that old. I would say maybe 72.
Okay.
But a lot of people that I'm working with are like basically in their, late 60s to early 70s if they're
Yeah,
still working. But I guess if you love your job and you're excited to get up every day, then that is kind of your retirement. Your
it's
work.
true. If it makes you happy, it makes you happy. I kind of like that song.
Yeah.
Makes you happy. I won't sing because every time I do, my family does this little thing where they're putting a rope around their neck and then they go like this because I have such a terrible voice.
Oh my gosh, mine is worse than yours. You wouldn't want to hear me at all. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, so we're hoping to be able to share some tips on Medicare, but go beyond that and tips on living your best life and things that we've learned along the way. And like Cindy mentioned, we want to have some guest speakers on a regular basis that can kind of inspire and motivate and help us realize that we're at a point where we're not raising kids anymore and we can truly reinvent who we are. And that's kind of an exciting thing to think about.
Exactly. Like, where are you going to travel to? Where are some places that are on your bucket list? And some people may not even like to travel. Some people might
Yeah,
just be perfectly happy just staying at home and volunteering and whatnot. But what are your goals and what are your plans and aspirations? And I think for me, I can't wait to just not have to set an alarm clock and get up in the morning and just kind of be on my own timetable and just kind of figure it out as I go. But I know a lot of people have really mapped it out.
yeah, it's so funny how you're right. So many people are so different on this. You have an aunt who's kind of been an inspiration for me over the years. When I lived in Europe for about 15 years in Munich, Germany, she'd come to visit quite often, but every year she's been retired since she was about 62. She plans a big 4-month vacation somewhere in the world. And
Wow.
so it'll be something. It's not that she's overly wealthy or anything. She travels very frugally and quite adventurous. So she's done the pilgrimage to Santiago in Spain at least, I don't know, 12, 15 times. She volunteers. She was just with my uncle and aunt, and they went through Italy and they went to Budapest and Prague and Netherlands, and they did this really great trip. I get to live vicariously through her on Facebook, but
That's
I love
amazing.
that she's not afraid to go. I'm going to learn how to learn. I'm going to learn Italian in my off time, and I'm going to go spend 6, 8 weeks or 3 months in Italy every year, or somewhere else. And so I just love that she doesn't feel encumbered by anything. And I think she's 78 now. And she's still
Wow.
doing that. So I would say she's probably my inspiration on living your best life in terms of retirement.
Yeah. I
One of the
have
crazy things she did, I'll just tell you this one. She, with a couple of friends, they did a hike from, I think they started in April or May, from London to Rome.
wow.
Yeah, now granted, they didn't swim over the English Channel, but and I think they might have taken a taxi or two over the Alps, but still, this is not a person that is out there running marathons. She just
Yeah.
is really like, I'm just gonna go for it and we're gonna do as much as we can and give ourselves grace when we can't. And I
Hmm.
thought, wow, is that not the way we should be living?
That's amazing. Yeah, I have a couple clients that are leaving on Friday that are going to Costa Rica for 6 months. And
Nice.
they were both missionaries and then taught yoga and everything in the States and did that for a long, long time. And then they just decided to put their house up for rent and see if they wanted to be there full time. And if not, they could come back here to Georgia and just figure it out all over again. But he does some relationship advice and everything, kind of a coach, like a life coach. And he's amazing just because he's so spiritual. And he was actually a monk for a long, long
Wow.
time. I mean, I cannot imagine being a monk. I love to talk, and I used to get in trouble in high school. I don't know if you
I remember.
remember, like, I would get the world's worst grades on American citizenship because it didn't matter who they put me next to, I would just talk. And I mean, I could talk to the jocks and the cheerleaders
You were that person.
and,
Yep.
yeah, just kinda like a chameleon, but anyway, yeah, so he was a Buddhist monk for a long time and then just kinda developed the yoga and the action or not
That's so
coach,
awesome.
the life coaching after that, so
That's so incredible. I think it really is amazing. Why don't we tell our listeners a little bit about how we came to be Medicare insurance agents?
yeah,
You wanna go
awesome.
first, or do you want me to go first?
You go first
Okay.
because you've been doing it a little bit
Okay.
longer.
Yeah, Cindy knows the story, but none of you do. Basically, in 2019, I was living with my husband, and his brother, who was 58, was living with us, and he was disabled. He got really sick. I had just left Intel, so I was taking a little bit of a break, trying to reinvent myself and figure out what that was going to look like. And so I offered to take him to the emergency room after he'd been sick for about 2 or 3 weeks, complaining of the stomach flu, and I'm like, "No, stomach flu doesn't last this long. You need to go to the emergency room." We get there, and they immediately tell us, "Yeah, he definitely needs to be seen. We need to do some testing, and he doesn't have insurance." And, of course, I know nothing of insurance. I was at Intel, so I said, "What do you mean he doesn't have insurance? He has this card here," and I bring out his Medicare card, and they're like, "Well, he only has Part A." And immediately I'm like, "Well, what the hell does that mean?" I have no idea. Okay, so it says hospital on it, and we're in a hospital, so tell me where the problem is. And so it turns out that obviously we know now that he didn't have the full parts of Medicare that actually give you any services in the hospital. He had signed up and thought, okay, for $0, I get catastrophic coverage. It says hospital on here, and if I need to go to the hospital, I'm covered. And of course, that's not true. You get basically the crummy meals in the hospital and the crummy bed in the hospital, and that's about it for Part A of Medicare. And so we ended up paying out of pocket so he could get, the ultrasound and the blood work, which showed there was something wrong. And then they wanted MRI, so we paid for that out of pocket and found out that it looked like pancreatic cancer, but they needed a biopsy before they could actually put him on hospice or see if he could get care or put him to a referral with a oncologist. But at that point, all of that stuff was going to be out of pocket because he didn't have Medicare set up. And that's when I learned all about the general enrollment period where he could apply, but he couldn't apply till January, and we were in October. So that meant that there was no getting Part B for any reason at all. And so we spent some funds to find out that he does have pancreatic cancer, and we applied for Part B in January in order for him to pass away on February 18th. And the whole thing pissed me off, to be honest with you. I just thought, why is Medicare so hard? I mean, I have a master's degree. I've worked a lot of different jobs. I know I'm not a stupid person, but once you have to go in there and go Medicare Plan A or Part A, and then you start looking at everything, you realize this is incredibly difficult for anybody to figure out. And for me, that anger of how difficult it was a calling to say, I don't want other people to have to go through that. And that's how I, decided this is it. This is going to be my next chapter. I'm going to be a health agent, and I'm going to help as many people as possible make it as easy as possible to apply for Medicare. And honestly, Intel was a great job. I loved it and did it for 22 years, but this job speaks to my heart.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful feeling to know that we made somebody's life a little bit easier by being there step by step through that whole process. It's the job that gives back.
It's the hardest job I've ever had, definitely. So I was a property and casualty agent, and I also sold life and health, and did that for many, many years with State Farm. Then, well, my first boss passed away and went to go work for another State Farm agent, and then he decided to retire. So after 10, 12 years in the doing that with property and casualty, I was like, do I want to go to work for either another State Farm agent or do I want to do something different and kind of reinvent myself? So we're always learning more and
Right.
wanting to do better and kind of recreate ourselves. So I thought, well, I want to give this a try. And honestly, it has been the hardest job, like I said, that I've ever had, but it's also been the most rewarding. And it's hard hard because I don't know if everybody realizes, but when you're a property and casualty agent or insurance agent, you take your license once and then you just have to have little CEU credits every year to keep up with it. But as Medicare agents, we have to do this every single year because Medicare changes. And then we have to test with every single carrier. So it's definitely
For the faint of heart, that's for
it
sure.
is not, and we had to score 90 on this,
I
and
know,
school
that's
was
right.
not my best subject. Yes, it was. She was in all these AP classes and gifted. I didn't even know what AP was. I am no lie, I am serious. I mean, my kids I've got 3 kids and they all graduated, had AP classes and all that, but back when in our
It was
day, when I was in school, I swear that it was not a big deal, and I did not know. That's why I say that I'm the Thelma to the Louise. Yaz is the smart one, and I'm the more just like
about that. You're not giving yourself a lot of credit because having worked with you and knowing you your whole life, you are one of the most hardest working people that I know. You are just always you're clever and creative in your problem solving. And you may not be that person that's like textbook, let's sit in the classroom necessarily. I
yeah.
don't know, but I don't see you that way. I mean, I feel everybody that's in your hands are in capable hands. That's for
Well,
darn
that's
sure.
super sweet. I mean, I
And I
know
mean,
I feel like I mean, I love this Medicare and that's why I give it my all and I love helping people, but I'm just here to say that it's not
it's
easy and
definitely not
so
easy. I
it
know.
is important to have a really good guide. And so our group with Yaz and I with the Medicare Besties, like we talk every day and make sure that we're doing the best thing for our clients and
Right.
doing whatever it takes to get them into the right plan and just to care for all of our customers.
I
um
agree. I call it
yeah.
friend a friend. Sometimes it's me calling you calling me, or one of us calling one of the other agents, and it's knowing that we have a lifeline. And none of us want to ever suggest and recommend something that we think would harm somebody. So we go out of our way to really make sure we know the doctors are covered, and do they have good hospitals, and are drugs covered, and all of these things. So and then there's so many rules, and so many permutations of those rules. So it's fun. I really do like it, but you're right. It's not easy. And there's a lot of training that goes into that. So, and we decided we would do this podcast because what we wanted to do is provide some Medicare moments every week and tell you a little bit about Medicare. So this week we didn't call it that, but in telling you about my brother-in-law, David, who passed away. Now, if you forget anything else, you'll remember that Part A only covers room and board, the bed you're sleeping on, and the meals they're serving you at the hospital. And so, if that saves anybody from having to run into the same situation, or if you have just Part A, you might go, "Oh gosh, I'm missing something." And I hope that could save even one life.
Yeah, I kinda like to say that part A is just like a Airbnb where it's just your bed and your meals,
Exactly.
basically. That's
Yeah.
kind of
That is
it.
that what you say? Because
Yes.
I call it a hotel. I go, it's like
Oh,
no, you check in, you've got your bed in your room, but if you're gonna go and order room service, ching, ching, ching. If you're gonna go to the spa, ching, ching, ching. So whatever
yeah.
you do on top of your room, you're gonna pay for. So that's so funny that you use the Airbnb analogy.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, so I think every week we'll come in with some exciting, either inspirational talks about retirement or share another Medicare moment that we think is hopefully something that a nugget that you can't live without. And that's our goal for this podcast. And hopefully you can relate to some of our challenges and our journey and the journey of our clients and have some fun with us on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and we do hope to have fun just to to know us a little bit better. I think you learned a little bit about me and my personality and a little bit about Yaz and just share and just make this a friendship, but where we can all learn and grow from each other. And I
Something to
hope
watch while you're watch or listen to while you're cleaning the toilets.
exactly, exactly.
I can't do housekeeping without having my earbuds in now and listening to something inspirational that helps me get through the drudgery.
Just don't drop us in.
Yeah, exactly. If that's gonna be like a little bit of an omen.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think we could wrap up for this week's first
Yeah.
and inaugural podcast, and we hope that you'll tune in weekly, and we look forward to having you with us. Thanks for
Awesome.
joining us.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you're wondering if this could happen to me, the answer is yes. If you do not know what gaps to look for,
Join us for our free Medicare webinar, Buckle Up Buttercup, 5 Medicare Secrets for a Smooth Ride Through Retirement. We'll show you how to dodge costly surprises and stay confidently covered.
Seats fill fast. Click below to save your seat and bring your questions. We're ready when you are.